Hello everyone, welcome to the show. Welcome to Ask Mevo Anything. My name is Joseph Pisani and I am a technical specialist here with Mevo. If you're new to the show, if this is your first time seeing us, we here at Mevo do 2 shows a week where we talk about everything Mevo. And on today's show, we're going to be talking a little bit about my setup today, where I'm going to be demonstrating how to run different types of audio using the Multicam app. So before I begin, let's talk about some things real quick. Every week on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we do live shows where on Tuesdays we do Ask Mevo Anything. So this is a show where we can answer your questions live on the air. Anything that from troubleshooting, anything from just how to set up things or just best practices, thoughts, ideas, whatever you have, throw them in the comments and you will know that we are streaming to Twitch, YouTube and Facebook all together at Mevo Camera on all 3 platforms, and we're live right now. So if you are watching on any of those platforms, please feel free, post a question in the comment. On our Thursday show, we do Mevo Live, and Mevo Live is where we kind of bring in a little bit more intricacies into the setup. So what we do is we set up different ways of getting Mevos to a computer, maybe use something like OBS or Streamlabs. We use different inputs like NDI, webcam mode. We also incorporate different ways to use the Multicam app. We incorporate how to bring in other people from remote locations. So that's the more complicated big show. That's our Mevo Live show on Thursdays, but today is Ask Mevo Anything. So today my main focus is I want to just kind of talk with everybody and go through how to set up different scenarios when using the new Multicam app. So speaking of the Multicam app, if you don't know, right now we have the Mevo Start 3-pack is available at Mevo.com and all of our resellers as well. So Amazon, B&H Photo included. The Mevo Start 3-pack is a great companion to the Multicam application, the Mevo Multicam application. That's what I'll be using today. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the setup. I'm not coming at you through any type of broadcasting software. I'm actually coming directly through the Mevo Multicam app. So the way I have it set up is I have my camera 1 right here. And as you can see, I have a lower third graphic right there. That is also coming from the Multicam app. So I'm running the Multicam app on a tablet and I can turn that graphic on or off as I please. So let's leave that on for now. Actually, let's turn it off. So let's look at some of our shots here. This is my establishing shot. This is my main shot. This is where the Mevo, it's about 2.5 feet, 3 feet in front of me to get the right framing here. But I also have another shot up here. So this is kind of like my high angle shot. And this is also where I'm running my audio, which we're going to get into. So the audio you're actually hearing from me right now is coming through this Yeti Nano right in front of me. And then as a third shot, since we're using the 3-cam setup, I have my tablet set up right here, so I can kind of show you guys what I'm doing inside the app. So this will allow me to kind of give you an insight as far as how the graphics work, how the audio works, where my levels are. You notice that I'm coming in a little red there, so what I'm going to do is monitor myself a little bit. Check 1 2, check 1 2. Doesn't sound like it's peaking too bad for me. Hopefully it's not peaking for you guys at all. So let's get a little bit more into it here. So these are my 3 shots. And of course, if you guys have questions, please put them in the comments. We are at Mevo Camera at Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. So anything I'm talking about, if you want to get a little bit more in depth on it, let me know. Cool. All right, so those are my establishing shots right now. Now, I'm also monitoring my audio 2 ways. So we're going to take this from the top down, right? So we're going to take this from my ears, and we're going to go through all the intricacies of the audio process. So what I'm doing right now is I'm monitoring my headphones through my app. So if I'm on my tablet here, you can see by the meters here, I'm looking at a speaker icon that's crossed out. If I turn that on, I can monitor the audio through the application. So I'm actually monitoring the audio in these headphones right here, which are Bluetooth to the tablet right here. So what that does for me is that allows me to hear the audio as it's before it goes out and reaches the audience, right? So that'll allow me to check my inputs if I'm moving things around, if I have multiple mics going on. That'll allow me to select each individual mic, listen to them, make sure they're coming in well. So let's talk about the mics now. So the microphone you're hearing right now is the Blue Yeti Nano. So this is set up directly in front of me. This is actually connected via USB to this Mevo right here. So what's important to know about this setup is this Mevo is actually powering the microphone. So I do have a setting in the Mevo that's set up, which I could show you, which is power USB devices. So what this does is this allows my microphone here, which is a USB input microphone and needs USB power to work. The Mevo itself is actually powering this microphone and allowing me to talk. I also have another option. If I go to the camera, that's my overhead camera, so the one that's shooting this shot right here, I actually have this camera set up a little bit differently. So this camera right now is actually set up using the Mevo Remote Mic app in conjunction with my Blue microphone. So let's test this out. Check 1, 2, how's my monitoring? And again, you can kind of see the meter's getting a little bit red in little spots. I'm not hearing any sizzle in my headphones. You guys let me know in the chat if you hear anything there. But to me, it sounds okay. And what I'm doing with this is kind of unique. So let me turn off my monitoring for a second. What I'm doing is I'm taking the Bluebird, and this is an XLR microphone. This is being sent into my audio mixer, which is actually directly under, I'll try to show it to you, which is actually directly under my tablet here. Okay, so this audio mixer is then sending signal out of the headphone input, which is this wire here, which you kind of can't really see there. There you go. This wire here is going from the headphone of the audio mixer. Hopefully I'm not coming in too loud. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Check 1, 2, check 1, 2. Great. Okay. And then this is going directly from the audio mixer into this iRig setup. So what this does is this takes a line-in signal. This is for a guitar, so this is going to be a mono signal that it would take in, but I'm sending it stereo, but it's coming through mono. This will take this signal and connect it to my phone via a TRRS input. Now this is important to know. The Mevo Start takes a TRS input. So what that means is something like a normal standard headphone input. Let's see if you guys can get a look at this. Let's see if I can get this to look cool for you. You kind of get the idea there. Your normal standard headphone input. That's what you would put in the back of the Mevo if I were to send signal directly from my soundboard into the Mevo Start. Now, that's not what I'm doing today. What I'm doing is essentially putting a middleman in between that to take that signal and make it a wireless signal. So I'm taking that input from my sound mixer and I'm bringing that into my cell phone here, and this phone is actually using the Mevo mic app. So now this is taking the input from here, from the iRig, which again is a stereo to stereo TRS to TRRS input directly into the phone, sending it through wirelessly to my Mevo, and then coming into my feed. So this is a cool way for if you want to get house signal, but you can't really get to the Mevo. You can't run a 3.5 millimeter cable from the mixer to the Mevo. Let's say Mevo's in the front of the house, mixer's in the back of the house. This is another way that you can actually send that signal wirelessly. So that's how I have that set. And then my third option, let's go into my monitoring right here. You're going to notice that this option is going to give you a lot more of the room tone, because what this is the internal microphones directly from the Mevo in front of me. So again, this Mevo, it's a Mevo Start, and it's about 2.5, 3 feet away. And what it's doing, it's set up for speech mode. So what it's doing is it's utilizing the microphones on the top of the Mevo. There are 3 microphones, if you're not aware. And it's triangulating the signal, and in order to capture my voice properly, especially in an open space, what it's doing is it's kind of canceling out anything that's coming from behind the Mevo, and it's allowing my voice to come through the Mevo. So what's cool about this setup, especially in Multicam, is regardless of my audio choice, I can pick whatever angle I want to shoot to and keep that audio consistent. I can also change what my audio source and how it's coming in on any scene. So whether I'm on the scene looking directly here, whether I'm on camera 2 and I'm looking up here, I could switch my audio source to the desired source that I want. Cool. So that's just a basic explanation of the setup. We're gonna break it all down and go through the ins and outs of it. But before I do, I want to hop into questions and see if there's anything happening in there. And it looks like we have a bunch coming in. This is awesome. Great. So let's get started on questions. Let me just take care of this real quick. Okay. Bad graphic move there. So if you're wondering about the graphics, we'll get into those as well. But let's take a look at the questions on here. So Kathy says, how do you get the logo and the Mevo picture on the graphic? Cool. This is a great question. So let's talk about what I'm doing here. So if you're referring to, let's see, the logo and the Mevo picture on the graphic. Well, when I opened up today, I guess what you're referring to is maybe this one, or even how I have this questions box here. So let's go into it and I'll show you how I did that. So if you look at the Multicam app, let me just get rid of my lower third there. If you look at the Multicam app, I have all my graphics pre-installed in the app. So I made this lower third here. So let's give you an idea what that looks like. So the one you're seeing here, I actually made this inside the app. So let me show you how I did that. So all I did was I went to add a graphic by clicking the blue button on the left-hand side, which you guys can't see because I'm not in the right side. There it is. So on the bottom left-hand side, there's a blue button. You click it here, and then you can go into your graphics menu. And from here, you have your choices, right? You have your corner bug, over-the-shoulder, lower third, full screen overlay. So if I was doing a full screen overlay, what I did was, on this graphic here, kind of hard to see, and actually I can maneuver it. But what I did was I created a, well, I didn't create it. Dan, the great and powerful Dan, created it. He made a PNG with a transparent background. So really this is a full screen overlay, right? So it's covering the whole screen, but because we created the file to be a transparent background, when I click OK, and if I go back to my shots, go here, go back to my full screen transparent, there it is. So if I'm here, now what's happening is technically this is a full screen overlay. But because we uploaded it as a transparent PNG just with that little corner third on the bottom there, or down here actually, it allows the transparency to come through so you can see the video behind it, so you can have that kind of lower third kind of look customized. Now, if you want to create that lower third in the Mevo and Multicam application, you absolutely can. So if we go back into our graphics menu, let's go back here. Let's get rid of that lower third. And let's create a new graphic. Let's create a new lower third. So we have an image. We have a bunch of options, really. We can do text color, white or black. We can change the format if we want a subtitle and just a regular title. We can add in a picture through here. If I want to add an image, let's say I want to put my smiling face on this one, I can absolutely do that here. I can change my background color. Let's go with the theme today, which is purples and greens. So let's go with a purple. And let's say I want to just kind of make that a little more transparent. I have my opacity here, and then my text I can just put right here. We'll go JP, and then this graphic is for Kathy. Thanks for the question, Kathy, and I spelled your name crazy wrong. Okay, done. JP, Kathy. There's our lower third, Kathy, and we can place that either on the right hand side, the left hand side, top, bottom, wherever we want. Generally, bottom left is where I like my lower thirds. Click OK. So then when we select that and go back to our shot, there it is. So that's all done within the Multicam app. So hopefully that answers that a little bit. Great. Thank you for that question. So let's go back into my questions here. Cool. All right, Jason Hoffman says, it's always instills confidence in the product when you run through your own software. Is it a preview build or the release version? Great question, Jason. This is the release version. So this is Multicam version 1.2. So if you were to download it today, this is the version you would get. This is specifically on a tablet. This is a Samsung S7, Galaxy S7, Galaxy Tab S7 tablet. Might look different. The UI is a little bit different on the phone side of things, so on Android phones, Apple phones, but on the tablet side, the UI is a little bit different because of obviously the real estate you have to work with. So yeah, but absolutely, you're absolutely right. We are doing all of this feed directly through the Multicam app. So cool, thank you for that. All right, Ben says, are you experiencing delay through your headphones? I can't actively monitor my audio when I'm speaking because of the delay I hear. Yes, this is true for most monitoring. So if I were to, there it is. So there is a little bit of a delay. It's kind of a benefit, though. It's not like you're monitoring yourself through a mixer directly where you have your headphones plugged in directly into the mixer. It's not really like that. This is more where you can say something, hear yourself back, and then this way you're not talking over yourself and not really getting all of the audio. There's also, it's a connection delay, right? Like everything is being processed through the application. There's 3 Mevos running. But I find it a little bit, I don't use the monitoring on when I'm actually doing my presentation. I always shut it off. If you do want it to monitor directly, you can do that. So you can do that if you are, depending on your setup. So if you're using a mixer or something like that, and you have, like, for example, if I were to switch over to this setup, this blue microphone is coming through my audio mixer, so I could actually just plug my headphones directly into my audio mixer, and it would monitor with no latency from there. But again, you're not really hearing yourself back, so you're not getting, if there's pops, if there's clicks, if there's artifacts, if there's bad low end, whatever, you're kind of talking over yourself, and you're not really getting that to kind of adjust for the feed. So I kind of enjoyed the delay. And you see this delay in a lot of programs too, OBS, Streamlabs OBS, it's there. So it's just a monitoring delay. But I get what you're saying. I would like to hear myself inside the headphones, but if you're doing that, you need a more direct way of setting up your headphones. Okay, cool. Jose says, I'm experiencing some issues with NDI feature through Wirecast. The images on Wirecast froze. To solve this issue, I had to restart the Mevo camera. What could be causing this? Okay, Jose, so this is a great question. A lot of things could be causing this. So the first thing I would do is just double check your network, make sure the network's strong. Before any presentation or any type of streaming, I always recommend just rebooting the Mevos. Just make sure you're turning them off, turning them back on again, doing a hard reboot just to clear out any type of residual cache memory or anything that might be bogging down the system. So it could be that as well. I mean, if you're using NDI, how are you connected? Are you using it wirelessly? Are you connecting through Ethernet? Is everything you're using updated? Wirecast, I haven't messed around with that much. I can't really speak to Wirecast. So these are just some of the things. Look at the network, check your connections, make sure that the Mevo is rebooted. Those would be the number 1, 2, and 3. I would check to stop freezing or something like that. Cool. Ben says using the Mevo Mic app is that way. Using the Mevo Mic app in that way is a creative way to send audio. Yeah, I mean, this was one of the core benefits of having the Mevo Mic app, right? Because you can absolutely just hook up a lav or something like this directly to it and use it that way, or you can even just use the internal microphones from the cell phone. But if you're doing something where you have house, you have music, you have other microphones, and you're using that mixer, it's a great way to send audio wirelessly. Cool. All right, Jose said thanks. No problem, Jose. Hopefully I was able to help with that. John says, can I use my XLR mic with the Mevo? Will the Rodecaster Pro work? Okay, 2 questions here. Can I use my XLR mic with the Mevo? Absolutely. Now, you can't use your XLR mic directly with the Mevo. You would need to go through some type of interface or sound mixer. So back to my example. What you're hearing me now, let me just monitor again. Check 1, 2. Great. So now what you're hearing is actually this XLR mic. So this is the Bluebird SL. This is a condenser microphone. This microphone is being routed through my sound mixer, which is actually hiding under my tablet right here. So you can kind of get a view of that. And then what I'm doing with that, I could do 2 things with this, okay? I can then send the signal directly from the mixer through the Mevo Starts 3.5 millimeter input, which you can see right here, right there, boom. I can send that just a cable out of the mixer directly into the Start. The way I'm running it today, though, is I'm running it wirelessly. So what I'm doing is I'm taking that signal from my mixer, I'm sending it to the remote mic app on my cell phone, and then sending that signal wirelessly to not this one, to this one. And that will allow me to have a little bit more flexibility, but it's not necessary, right? If you are close and you could run a wired direct in, I would always recommend running a direct wire. So now I'm going to kick it back over to the Blue Yeti. And this is, again, running through a USB connection. So I really have a lot of connections. I have the internal mics, I have the USB mics, I have the remote mic app, all happening at the same time, all within my disposal in the Multicam app. Great, thank you for that question. Phil says, question, any future plans for wide-angle lenses and add-ons? It's a great question. Not at the moment. We don't have anything set up where we can like attach something to the Mevo. Just because this Mevo is a fixed lens, there's no optical zoom on it. It's all built in a nice tight little package. So I don't have anything for you on that front. Sorry about that. Okay, Dr. Dacus, if I'm spelling, or Dacus, let me know if I'm saying that right. Thanks for addressing audio today. I came on for 2 issues, audio and telescope lens attachments. Okay, well, obviously, telescope lens attachments is not something that we have to offer right now, but we can talk about audio. So if you do have any specific questions about that, post, get specific in the comments. I'd be happy to answer that for you. So thank you, Doctor. Kathy coming back. Do you know if you will ever be able to do transitions when streaming? Transitions when you are streaming through Mevo? Well, that's a great question. So why don't we take a look? We absolutely can do transitions. If I go into my menu, let's get back into my... all right, let's do a couple things first. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to get rid of my questions box. Second thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go to my app so you guys can see what I'm doing. And what I can do, if you've noticed, I'm not sure if you noticed, but I do actually have some cool transitions happening. You notice that kind of box down from the corner there. So if I go back into my app, let's go here, and I'm going to hit the ellipsis here on the bottom right hand side, and from here I can change my transition type. So this is great. So this is something that's in the Multicam app 1.2. If you have an older version of the Multicam app, I would definitely recommend updating that application. So here are my transition options. So there's actually a bunch. I can do a regular cut, crossfade slide. Right now I'm using box wipes. Let's say I want to do some dip to colors and get a little creative. Let me pick my color. We used purple before. Let's use green today. How about that? We'll go with green. And I can do these little, let's say like a 2-second dip to color transition. So when I go back into my shot here, when I go between transitions, you see that green dip to color? So now I can set that up through each transition. And if I want to get rid of that, of course, I could just go back into my transitions and just go straight back to cut, crossfade, slide. Let's do slide. Let's have some fun with some slides. Let's see how it goes. Whoa. Okay, I've always wanted to do this, so let's see. Whoa. That didn't really time out. But as you can see, tons of transitions you can choose from. All right. Bert says, what is a quick cheat sheet version of connecting 2 Mevo cameras to the Multicam app via cell LTE only? So this is a great question. Thank you for bringing this up. You can absolutely do this. You can hook up the Mevo cameras using AP mode or using it through like the Mevo Multicam, the Mevo hotspot mode. So the way this would work is if I were to add cameras in here, you would set up, you would establish this one's kind of hard to demo. Let me show you why. Because if I go into my cameras, the moment I disconnect one of these, obviously they're going to disconnect from what I'm trying to do here today. So, but generally you would have 3 options on this screen. You can either disconnect, connect, or you can set up, depending on how you're configured, right? So if you're configured through Wi-Fi and your Mevo's already on the same Wi-Fi, you'll probably just see the connect button because they're already communicating with each other. So if you wanted to, though, you could set it up where you can kind of daisy chain the Multicam app. I'm sorry, I keep messing up my phrase. You can kind of daisy chain the hotspot where one Mevo, for example, let's say the Mevo 235KP was running the mobile hotspot mode. I can then connect the other 2 Mevos and the tablet to that mode as well and still use the Multicam app. So yes, to answer your question, yes. Okay, cool. And another thing to mention about this too is if you are using LTE signal, check your speeds. So let me go back. Definitely check your speeds. So if you're using LTE, you want to make sure that your upload speeds are sufficient to be able to run the feed as well, so you don't run into any interruptions, let's say. But thank you for that question. Okay, Jose, he coming in, NDI on the Multicam app. Currently, NDI is only available on the Mevo app or the Mevo 2.0 app, depending if you have Android or iOS, same app. So right now we're looking to get that implemented into Multicam, but it has to go through different avenues. Multicam operates a little differently than the Mevo 2.0 app does, whereas the Mevo 2.0 app primarily is having the camera do a lot of the processing. In the Mevo Multicam app, the tablet or the device itself is doing a lot of the processing, so there's a lot of handoffs that need to happen there to get correct, and that's not something that we want to throw out there until it's ready to go, because I can see how people would get excited about that, and if it doesn't work, that's just asking for trouble. But thank you for that question. Okay. And Kathy says, "Is this available on the Mevo, the transitions on the Mevo single app?" No, I believe on the Mevo 2.0 app. Let me double check. I'm pretty sure it's just cut and dissolve. Let's see. Forgive me, I must brush up on my Mevo. So Kathy, I'm gonna come back to that as I set this up a little bit. I'm gonna set up another camera here, which may or may not need an update. So we'll double check on that, or maybe Joe is in comments. If you don't know, Joe is monitoring all the chat. So if you do have questions in the chat, and if I can't answer them live, I do have some awesome backup. But I'm pretty sure it's just cut and crosses off. But I will double check on that. Kaz Press says, we have 3 Mevo boosts and we would like to use the multicam. Okay, right now we are using Mevo 2.6 and running audio from our iPad. iRig to soundboard works great. How do I do this in multicam? This is a great question, Kaz Press. So the Mevo, let me put this guy up here. So the Mevo 2.0 app allowed you to take the device audio from the device that was running the app as an audio input. The Multicam app doesn't allow you to do that, because what the Multicam app is doing, it's bringing in the video feeds and the audio feeds from the cameras and doing all the processing in the app. So it's not actually sending any type of audio signal to the individual camera's output. So really think of the Multicam is just an input box, right? We're just taking everything out, we put pilot together, we send it to the stream. We're not going to take whatever's happening in the Multicam app and send it the other direction back to the cameras. So that would be like sources, things like that. So the workaround for that would be to use like the remote mic app. So kind of how I'm doing with this. So with this Bluebird here. So I'm sending this through a mixer, sending that mixer through the remote mic app, having that being sent directly to that Mevo. So this way I can use that audio or any other audio coming through that connection in my multicam feed. That would be the workaround for that. I'm trying to think if there's another way to do it, and there really isn't. So that would be the answer for that. Until we can figure out how to bring the device audio from the device and then send it back to the Mevo feed and then pull it back into the feed. It's a little bit of a round robin when you're trying to do it that way. But remote mic app, it's a great alternative. Okay. Tim says, why can't the Mevo multicam work while on Zoom after you use one Mevo cam into the PC's USB as a webcam? Okay, so a couple of things in this question that you kind of have to just understand a little bit of how the signal flow works, right? So Zoom is not a streaming client. Zoom is a conference client. So there's different rules. For example, you can't RTMP into Zoom. You would have Zoom is looking for already established video connections, right? So your webcam, or you can come in NDI, or even through your OBS NDI output, but that's still NDI. So it's really just NDI and webcam, and then obviously internal camera on your computer. So if you're using the Mevo Cam into the PC's USB as a webcam, what you're doing is you're changing the actual function of the Mevo, right? So you're turning the Mevo into wired webcam mode, and that really disables everything else. So you're not going to be able to record or stream from that camera if you're using it as webcam mode, because in that mode, what's happening is your Mevo is basically becoming an extension of your computer through the USB cable as a webcam. So that's just sending you a video feed in. So if you wanted to do that with Zoom, and you were using the Mevo as a webcam, there is a way to do this. You would have to bring your webcam in via wireless webcam, wired webcam, NDI, however you want, into another broadcasting software like OBS, Streamlabs OBS, vMix, any of these. This way, you could do all your switching and adjusting. You can have multiple cameras coming into your main source here, and then you can send that feed to Zoom. So now what this does is gives you a little bit more autonomy as far as what you can do with your presentation. So in those programs, OBS, Streamlabs, OBS, you can do these type of graphic things. You can also use the graphics that are built into the Mevo 2.0 app for each individual camera as well. So that's pretty cool. So what that means is if I have my NDI signal coming in and then I have a wireless webcam and a wired webcam, I can use all three of those cameras in my feed out to Zoom. So it's just a little bit more you have to do for it, but it is possible. But it's not going to happen directly from the app because the app is looking for a platform to send a live stream, right? It's not looking for a conferencing platform, which is what Zoom, Google Meets, Teams, things like that are. So hopefully that was a long-winded way of answering that question for you. Okay. All right, cool. So Calvin says, well, hold on, got some stuff coming in. Okay, cool. Can you use the Mevo with other camera setups? So, no. Well, sort of. So if you're using it specifically how I'm using it today, where I'm using the Mevo Multicam app only, right? So all I'm using today is my tablet and my Mevos. I'm not incorporating OBS. I'm not incorporating any type of other system. If you're using it the way I'm using it today, no, it would just be the 3 Mevos into the Multicam app. Again, though, if you are setting up Streamlabs, OBS into some other broadcasting type software, anything like that, that would be a situation where you can actually have different inputs. And essentially, you're just using the Mevo camera as an input. Now, what's cool about that and the advantage of that is just really what the Mevo Start can do, right? When sending NDI signal, you can have cameras in different locations. You can get weird angles that maybe you couldn't get with a DSLR. So you can be a little bit more creative with it as well. All right, looks like thank you again, everyone. Thank you for these questions. This is awesome. We have a lot of questions coming in, so let's keep it going. Crypto Graffiti, awesome name. For DJs, can you speak to the advantages of using the included graphics capabilities versus OBS? For example, much of the audio is already controlled via the DJ controller, so I wonder what else might be beneficial with OBS versus the simplicity of using solely Mevo graphics overlay offerings. Cool. All right. So the advantages are you don't need a laptop unless you're using it for your DJ setup as well, of course. But if the advantages are, and you can do everything from inside an app. So if you look at the setup I have, where I have my let's get rid of this graphic here. Where you have the setup right here, so I can just easily, like, let's say I just wanted to just throw up and talk about, saying goodbye, or even just doing talking about our shows, right? I could just easily tap and throw up a graphic and not have to worry about it. So it really depends on ease of use, your setup. This setup is right next to me right here. It's easy for me to access. So those are the advantages. I mean, as far as things that are happening in OBS, you have to involve a computer. You have to worry about your connections. You have to do a bunch of different, you have to jump through a bunch of different hoops to kind of get the same result. So that would be what I would say is the advantage to rocking the Multicam app. All right, Tim says, could you explain OBS to a layman like me? Absolutely, Tim. But before I do that, I do want to just cover some things. Let's talk about, so I did mention earlier that we do have shows on Thursday. So if you are tuning in on Thursday, just so you know, we have a super, super awesome announcement that's going to be coming this Thursday. It's super special. I'm very excited. I can't talk about it much now, but I'm kind of going to plant the seeds here for everyone to tune in on Thursday because we do have an announcement that we want to get out to everybody. So with that being said, let's get out of that. So the question was, can I explain OBS a little bit? Sure. And you know what? I sure can. So let me put up my little pre-made graphic there. Cool. So when we're talking about OBS, what it means is open broadcasting software. Open broadcast software. I'm not sure if there's an ing at the end of it. But basically what that does is that allows you to bring in video sources, mix and match them, kind of like how I'm doing with the Multicam app today. And then you could send that stream to a feed anywhere you want to go. So if you're streaming to Facebook, if you're streaming to Twitch, if you're streaming to Vimeo, wherever you're streaming to, you can do that directly from OBS. The advantages of OBS are you're using your computer to process mostly everything, right? So if you have a nice fast computer, you're less likely to run into any type of hiccups. You have a lot of options as far as your inputs, your graphics, your audio inputs. So if you really do get a complicated setup, I mean, you can run literally anything. Like if you wanted to run the Tonight Show through OBS using Mevo Cameras, you absolutely could. It is available to us now. So that's really the biggest difference. So to a layman term, it's just the software that allows you to do the things you want to do to make a stream, to make a show, to make a presentation. What I would do is just, hop on YouTube, check out some demos of it. We actually have a great OBS article at help.mevo.com, which this is a great time to mention help.mevo.com. Do I have a help.mevo.com slide? Sorta. I'll show it at the end. Help.mevo.com, guys. We have OBS articles. We have articles on NDI. Basically anything front to back on the Mevo Start or the Mevo Plus, we are covering in those articles. We have tons of them. We're updating them all the time. We've actually just spent the last week really diving in and really cleaning some things up in those articles. So, feel free to jump in there. And then if you want more explanation, if you want a little bit more hands-on one-on-one experience, just open up a ticket with us. You can open up a ticket at help.mevo.com. Either myself, Joe, or will be happy to answer those tickets for you. All right, and George is coming in, says, will the Multicam app be able to go to multi-platform soon? This is a great question. This is definitely something that we want to look to incorporate. As you know, if you are using multi-destination streaming right now, that means you probably have a Vimeo plan, and Vimeo handles that side of the equation, right? So you send your feed, whatever you're doing, to Vimeo, and then Vimeo distributes from there. There's a lot of other ways that you can do that right now. For example, how I'm doing that today. So I'm using my multicam setup, and I'm streaming RTMP to Restream, and then that's then distributing the feed to my various platforms. So today we are on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitch at Mevo Camera. So that's the way you would do that right now. It would be great to have it directly from the app. It's something we're looking to do in the future. Cool. So it looks like, I'm gonna take a little break here because that was a wave of questions, and thank you for all of those. So let's take a look and see how things are going on in the chats. Okay, great. Looks like some side conversations happening, which is always fun. And I see some answers are getting in there. All right, cool. All right, so good. So get those questions in if you have more, guys. I'm going to dive more into what we're doing here with the Multicam app today. But before I do want to mention one more thing. So let's close this out. Right now we have a great, well, not promotion, but it's something we kind of always do just to spread the word of Mevo, spread the Mevo love around. You can actually gain a 5% commission if you recommend Mevo. So here's how it works. If you're recommending Mevo to a friend, you can save them 5% on their purchase and earn a 5% commission on your end by creating your own custom referral code. So you can do this at mevo.com/referral or mevo.com/refer. So that would be a great transition into the Mevo Start 3-pack. So if you do have that friend or that family member that wants to get into this, or they're seeing you stream with your Mevo and they want to stream themselves, tell them to grab the Mevo Start 3-pack. You get 3 Mevos. It works great hand in hand with the Multicam app. And again, if you're using your custom code, your custom referral code that you get to create on your own, you can then save them 5% off their purchase as well. And then, of course, as I've mentioned a couple of times, we do these shows Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tuesdays, Ask Mevo Anything. So please feel free to ask me any questions. And if I can answer them, I'll answer them live on the air today. On Thursdays, we do Mevo Live. So Mevo Live is where we really try and push the boundaries of what the Mevo can do. That's a great place to look for if you want any type of news on Mevo, if you want to catch up on the latest updates. I know for a fact that this Thursday, we're going to have something coming your way that's going to be pretty exciting. So tune in on Thursday for sure. So again, just to recap what we talked about today. Right now, we're streaming through Multicam app using only Mevos. We are not using any type of broadcasting software at all. I have 3 different angles set up right here. I have my transition set up. I have my lower third set up. If I want to get rid of that, just easily I can get rid of that with a click of my finger, really. I also have this setup here where you can actually see how the app is working. So I didn't really get too much into the app as far as the design of it, but it's pretty plain to see, right? I have my shots here on the left-hand side. I have my audio options here on my right-hand side. What you've been listening to me was the blue USB microphone right here. This is being sent through the remote mic app into the Mevo, and I can always switch in my audio mixer here. So now I am talking through the Blue Yeti, which is right in front of me. And then again, if you want to get an idea of what the internal microphones sound like, this is what they would sound like. So I am actually speaking directly into this Mevo in front of me, and this is using the internal Mevo mic, Mevo microphones. So a little bit more room tone. It's a little bit wider of a spread as far as how it collects audio, but it doesn't sound that bad, and actually it's pretty great as far as a direct signal when you're sitting right in front of it. Great, so we're going to take a look at the questions, see if there's anything going on right in Twitch. Twitch looks good. YouTube, all right, and Facebook. A couple of things in here. Jeffrey says, I would love transitions, not just turtle rabbit movements, but static shots to static shots in the Mevo single cam app. I mean, it's definitely a cool idea. It is a cool idea. I mean, especially if you want to do like a quick transition from like a wide to a real tight. You got to think with the Mevo 2.0 app though, like when you're talking about those static shots, I mean, you know, where you are in the frame, certain transitions might look weird, but it's not a bad idea. But we have it in the Multicam app, and what's cool about the Multicam app too is you can use it with one Mevo. So if you want to do or two Mevos, you know, you can set up a different scenario, a different angle. Cool, but that looks like it's it for. Cool. That looks like it's it for questions today. So with that being said, I do want to say thanks for everybody for chiming in and hanging out with me today. My name is Joseph Pisani, and of course I'm a technical specialist here with Mevo. And if you want to join us on Thursday, please, we will be at Mevo Camera on Facebook, on Twitch, and on YouTube. We got a big announcement coming your way. We're very excited to get that out to you. So with that being said, have a great day, have a good rest of the week, and I will see you next time.